All right, we are back for another Workshop Wednesday. So we have Isa and Vignesh with us. Adam is at a client meeting, so he may surprise us and pop in, but we'll see how it goes. So welcome to our third Workshop Wednesday of Design Month. So we'll go ahead and get things kicked off. All right. So just a quick recap of the previous weeks, if this is your first one. So this is a design team. So we have Adam Moorhead, who's VP of Digital, myself, Trevor. So I'm our creative director and digital design manager, and then Isa and Vignesh, who are both UX and UI challenge architects. So you'll definitely see a good mix of us throughout all of the challenges and the design work that we run here at Topcoder. So just a quick kind of recap on what is Topcoder Design. So Topcoder Design is a global design community focused on solving real-world UX, UI problems through a collective creative crowd. So as a designer at Topcoder, you have the opportunity to compete on design challenges to win prize money, learn new skills, use the latest technologies, while working on real world web and application design projects for some of the biggest name brands. So Topcoder Design is a challenge-based process. So you're submitting design concepts, solutions. Those concepts and designs are being critiqued by our customers. So they're providing feedback and direction throughout the process. As well as working on design projects, for our clients, we also promote design education, open design thinking, innovation. So it's really, kind of client focused, but also a great way to, learn a new skill or, kind of get your feet wet through real world projects. So we mainly split Topcoder Design into three sections. So we have information architecture, UI design, and UI prototype. So information architecture is all about wireframes and kind of the upfront user flows and kind of how the user navigates through an application. So generally these are clickable wireframes, primarily using Acture, but we are fairly software open as far as how we are producing work. And then our main kind of focus within Topcoder is UI design. So this is all about user interfaces, kind of overall user experiences, as well as customer experience designs and challenges as well. So this ranges across from design concepts to mobile to web to application design. And we kind of split UI design into two main areas, more focused on design concepts versus production design. And then lastly, UI prototypes. So this is, our front end development side of design. So utilizing HTML, CSS, JavaScript to create, clickable front end code. And we generally, again, kind of split this up depending on, what the client is actually looking for and using the prototype for. We'll split this into kind of what we call a UI demo or an actual actual front-end code. And usually a UI demo is something, that they're just demoing, necessarily isn't going into full production. So that's kind of the quick recap of Topcoder Design. So this week, we're going to focus primarily on kind of looking at behind the scenes of Topcoder Design. So throughout Topcoder, as a whole, and then specifically within, top design at Topcoder, we're constantly iterating and kind of evolving our processes, looking at new products, new ways that we can serve our customers, but also ways that we can make your experience as a designer better, more up to date, and kind of following modern design practices. So there's a myriad of activities kind of happening behind the scenes with the Topcoder staff. And then, as those things evolve, we push those live out to the community. So we have a few kind of, I think super exciting, new initiatives, kind of new programs, new products that are pretty far along, that we kind of wanted to give you a sneak peek at, kind of what's coming at Topcoder. So the first big item is called CaaS, or Contractor as a Service. So you may have heard of this kind of floating around a little bit as a few different names. So we're referring to it as, gig as a service. We've kind of referred to it, it's kind of gotten looped in with Topcoder tasks a little bit. But we've officially are calling this Contractor as a Service, or CaaS for short. And this is a new product offering at Topcoder that we are planning on introducing in the second half of this year. So we're pretty far along on kind of what this is and the best way to roll it out to our customers. So in simplest terms, CaaS will provide direct or indirect access for our customers and our members to execute task-based or project-based work. So this is kind of getting away from the traditional limitations that a customer might have with crowdsourcing. And it really starts to follow kind of a freelance model of working. So generally a client, might want to work with just a single designer, or doesn't necessarily need, 10 or 15 different options of a design. They really just want to work, kind of one-on-one or with a small handful of designers to produce work for them. So the idea of CaaS gives them that direct access to a designer. So kind of the motivation behind this, comes from kind of a long history of work that we've previously done for customers. So our customers are typically always impressed with the talent of the members, kind of what they can get through crowdsourcing, but are, sometimes restricted by, NDAs or IP or certain, development environments or security concerns. And this is kind of fitting within, the company's own processes and kind of how they work internally. So that was kind of a big component of it. So if we can remove, kind of the quote unquote crowdsourcing aspect of it and treat it more as just a freelance model, we can integrate into a company's current processes a little bit easier. The second big motivation is that we just hear from a lot of members. They are super interested in working on a project for longer than maybe just one challenge. So as designers and, even developers, we get invested in a project, and it's hard to kind of steer or see that project from beginning to end when you're only working on just kind of one specific component of it. So with CAS, this would allow us to have a single designer or again, kind of a small group of designers and or developers, kind of working on a single project from beginning to end. So it allows for, kind of trusted members to be much more invested into the customer's team. And so until now, this kind of level of, secure access has never really been completely fleshed out for our members. So we've done it in kind of a few different ways in the past, or have kind of worked around some things to make it work, but it's never really been an official process and an official product that we can offer. So that's, largely changing. So, super excited. We feel there's a huge need for this, and something that we've already been kind of testing the waters on. So benefits. So what does this actually mean? Well, for you as a designer, why would I want to be interested in this? So firstly, for the customers, and we kind of touched on this, already, but, the benefits for a customer is they have access to global talent and skill. So that doesn't necessarily change for, using CAS as opposed to crowdsourcing. But what they do gain is, on-demand talent for agreed timelines. So we can kind of set things beyond what a traditional challenge would be. So we could set, a designer's working on a project for, 3 weeks or 2 months, depending on what the project is. So it allows us a lot more flexibility in kind of how we set up a project. A customer is getting a pre-qualified and a pre-screened talent. So someone that's, already familiar with the customer, has already gone through any kind of, NDA or anything kind of required on the customer's end. So less risk on the customer side. We are approaching everything as outcomes and project-based billing. So a little bit easier for them to kind of break things apart. And then resources can be changed or canceled immediately. So whereas if we're kind of focusing in on a challenge, we more or less want to have that challenge run throughout the duration. And kind of who is participating in that challenge is kind of who is seeing it through from beginning to end. So what the idea of CAS is that we can instantly kind of ramp up or ramp down the number of people working on a project, fairly seamlessly and, pretty quickly. So if there's a need to bring on, 3 more designers, we can almost do that instantly. Whereas a challenge that may be extremely difficult or impossible. And then from the customer side, there's also, a dedicated workforce manager. So someone that's kind of dedicated to their project from beginning to end. So more importantly, how is this beneficial to you as a member? So access to more on-demand work. So being able to work on, more projects, more opportunities to work with clients, more opportunities for just work in general. So we're able to kind of give more access to different kinds of projects and design opportunities. The big one, I think, is the ability to participate on projects for longer periods of time. So this will allow you to really get invested in a project beyond just a 1-week challenge or a 10-day challenge. It really allows you to kind of get a big picture of a project and really work on things from, more or less beginning to end and really start to shape the direction of a project, working more or less directly with a client. So definitely, you know, more time to actually work on a single project. This kind of, you know, is the kind of plays off the previous one, but more opportunities for long-term work. So again, kind of longer term, you know, beyond just a single challenge. Generally with a CAS type of project, there's some kind of pipeline of work that we know before a project is started with a client. So ultimately what this means is, you know, a pipeline of work equals more predictive income or more predictive, you know, prize money for you as a member. So we kind of know what's going to be happening for a given project before we launch that. So we more or less kind of know, you know, is this going to be 1 week? Is it going to be, you know, 3 months? And we can adjust, you know, the pricing and the number of people accordingly. So with CAS, it also allows you to work more closely with real clients. So the idea is that we want clients to be super involved in this process. And we really want to treat it more as a client and freelance type of relationship. So where a you know, Topcoder manager, so someone like myself or Isa or Vignesh or Adam may be involved along with a co-pilot, we want the designers to have clear communication to the actual client themselves. So this follows more of a kind of a traditional freelance, you know, working environment. So that's kind of the main, you know, goal and kind of the main structure of CAS. And then another big benefit is that you can ultimately become a trusted member of the client's team. So what this means is that a client starts to treat you as a designer a part of their kind of internal team. So you become, you know, invested in a project. The client starts to rely on you as a designer to produce work for them, to listen to feedback, to kind of meet deadlines. So again, this kind of ladders up to, you know, more of that freelance working environment. So that's kind of the brief overview of CAS. So again, we're hoping to launch this kind of the second half of 2018. So we've done a fair amount of kind of legwork on the back end to structure things. You know, so we're definitely getting pretty close to launching this. So super excited. I think this will be a great opportunity for our members. All right. So our second sneak peek of the week is design solutions. So design solutions are kind of in the most simplest terms, kind of the next evolution of design products. So if you've been a member at Topcoder for a while, you've kind of been aware of this concept of design products. So things like AVDs or which stands for application visual designs, or RUXs, so rapid UX design challenges. You know, wireframes were kind of treated as a product. So these were the original intention of products were the idea that we could standardize things across everything we do at Topcoder Design. So predictable ways of working, predictable scopes, predictable prize money, and it's greatly kind of streamlined and improved how we do design at Topcoder. So the next evolution of that concept of products is what we're calling solutions, and it's really built upon kind of two things, so iterations and solutions. So iterations are kind of smart collections of work. So they're basically buckets of goods and services that we can deliver to our clients. So we're generally thinking of these buckets as having a fixed price and can last up to 21 days of activity. So a bucket is more or less just a bucket of work that we can sell to our client. A solution is kind of a predefined collection of iterations that we can basically sell to our clients, and in turn have an established way of delivering to those clients. And then we have this concept of add-ons, which are kind of a la carte items that would happen in the middle or at the end of generally at the end of a solution. So I know this may sound a little confusing, but I'm hoping that kind of walking through a little bit of the examples can make it a little bit more clear. So legacy Topcoder products. So this is kind of what we've traditionally been using for the past year and a half or so. So this is something that Adam and myself, kind of created, kind of attached scoping around specific prizes. So again, if you've competed on, Topcoder design challenges before, you've probably seen these terms or have seen kind of these scope and sizing structures. So these are kind of our legacy products of information architecture. So wireframes, AVDs. We've kind of split these up into 3 different sizes, so small, medium, and large, with clearly defined scopes and kind of outputs to those. And then application visual prototypes. So these are our front end kind of prototype. And then ruxes. So these are kind of our super fast 3-day challenges, that have kind of, again, a clearly defined scope, and clearly defined and repeatable prize money. So those are kind of the legacy products, and then new design solutions. So again, the design solutions are kind of building upon those products. So we're kind of thinking of design solutions as things that we are traditionally seeing and actually producing and designing at Topcoder already. So things like responsive UI designs, or projects that go from wireframes into UI designs, or mobile app designs. So these are things that we have historically always done. They may have been, kind of sold to our clients as, 3 challenges or 5 challenges or whatever it ends up being. So the goal with design solutions is to kind of package those things into a single solution that we can offer to our customers. So an item like responsive UI design. So we're looking at, an enterprise application, a B2C or a B2B website focused on desktop, tablet, and or phone user interfaces. So the inputs and the outputs of these are largely what we see for any design challenge. So it's, wireframes, whiteboarding, design mockups, requirements, anything that's kind of coming from our clients, as well as additional inputs, that we just need to produce a design outcome. And then outcomes are still the same. So we're still looking at, high fidelity UI designs. What we're looking at for the scope, so this is where things are change a little bit. And this is where that concept of iterations come in. So if we're a UI design, we're looking at, 2 design iterations. The entire project itself, we're estimating will last about 3 weeks. We're looking at, 3 breakpoints. So, for responsive design, we're looking at desktop, tablet, and phone. And then again, kind of setting a defined scope for that. So 10 to 15 screens or features. So what this kind of means for you as a designer is that, whereas we're saying this is 2 design iterations, it might actually not necessarily equate to, 2 design challenges or, 4 design challenges to actually produce the full outcome. What this allows us to do with the design iterations is kind of define the entire project on what makes sense for that specific project. This may mean, 1 design challenge and a bunch of tasks, or 2 design challenges, and then we move into something more like CAS, so contractor as a service, what we talked about earlier, to produce the various other breakpoints. So it largely kind of reduces how we are approaching larger projects to a client, but it also allows us to be a little bit more open in how we're actually producing that work. Ultimately, what that means to you as a member is that there's more opportunities to be more involved in an entire project. Especially with something like a responsive UI design, there's a greater opportunity for you to not only design the desktop, but potentially design, the tablet and the phone and kind of all these other breakpoints as well. So we're kind of treating that same methodology and same idea for, kind of how we're approaching all of the other design solutions. So the same kind of focus as UX and UI design. So this is focused on wireframes and UI. So, kind of a traditional wireframe challenge, followed by some kind of UI design, challenge or tasks, or kind of what makes sense for that project. Focusing on mobile app design. So we've been doing a lot of, again, kind of internal solutioning around how to approach mobile design and more of kind of a modern and streamlined approach. So there'll be a lot more information coming out about mobile app design specifically. Design sprints. So we have the same kind of idea of kind of fast challenges. So historically, we've kind of ran these just as traditional, AVDs or app visual designs, but we've kind of just crunched the timelines of those, and they've kind of just become known as fast challenges. So we're kind of renaming them as design sprints, and kind of packaging them up to something that we can repeatably, sell and also repeatably execute on as a community. And then Rux. So we're turning Rux into a full-on design solution. So Rux aren't going away. Our clients love them. The community loves them. So Ruxes aren't going anywhere. And in fact, we're kind of positioning them to be more of a bigger deal, and more of something that we can offer to our clients even more. And then our kind of last big design solution is, UI design and prototype. So again, kind of a UI design followed by, a full-on prototype. So this is kind of just a short list of design solutions based on kind of historically what we've already been producing at Topcoder. So this list of design solutions, can grow and expand and can be refined based on kind of what we're seeing in the market. But this is kind of what we are initially going out the doorway. And I mentioned kind of beginning this idea of design add-ons. So these include additional work for additional form factors. So if we've produced a desktop design and we just need mobile, kind of what is that? We can add that to our customers as an add-on. A Zeppelin app handoff. So we've kind of used this historically to hand off UI designs to development. And we've kind of just worked this into at the end of a challenge. And mainly this has been a Copilot kind of producing these kind of handoff assets. So again, we're kind of turning this into more of a real item that we can offer to our clients. And then things just like additional screens. So going kind of above and beyond the 10 to 15. So what does it look like to add an additional 10 to 15 screens to a project? So again, we can add this onto a design solution. So I know you're probably all asking, well, so what does this actually mean for me as a designer? Am I still going to have the same opportunities? Does my work in Topcoder change? What does this actually mean? So it largely kind of doesn't really change how you work at Topcoder. It more or less kind of just iterates and reiterates a lot of what we've been kind of setting the tone for when we first introduced products. So, information architecture and AVDs and RUXs. So we want to create a consistent way of delivering large projects. So a great example of that is a responsive design. So how do we consistently deliver something like that to our customers? The next big benefit, I think, is more consistent pricing based on level of effort. So how much are we actually paying out in prize money for a project? And this is looking at prize money for an entire project. So not just a single challenge, but kind of an entire project in and of itself. With this, it also allows for more opportunities for tasks and kind of follow-up work. So we've, traditionally kind of done this with, kind of additional final fixes or, kind of additional breakpoints for single design challenges. What this idea and concept of solutions allows us to do is open that up even more. So there's an increased opportunity for you to, again, kind of work on a larger project for a longer period of time. And that's generally going to be done through tasks. So more opportunities to kind of influence and design an entire project, not just a single challenge. So we're looking at solutions as multiple challenges or multiple tasks for what we're considering an entire project. So there's greater opportunities for you to kind of work on a larger project from beyond just a single challenge. So more opportunities for work, more opportunities for prize money. So the other benefit is that the Topcoder design team, so myself and Adam and Isa and Vignesh, we're going to be more involved throughout a project, providing feedback, additional direction. So how we're kind of structuring this is a client might not be involved in providing feedback at every step of the way, but we are going to bring them in at key pieces or key times of a project to make sure that we're producing work that they're happy with. That doesn't necessarily mean that we still won't have those checkpoint reviews and those in-progress reviews. Those things will still happen. We still see the value in them. Our designers still see the value in them, but those may become more largely driven by the Topcoder design team. So what this means is that, you know, we can start to influence how our designers are designing. We can start to educate them along an actual project or even throughout an individual challenge, you know, much more than we've been able to do it in the past. And then ultimately, projects and challenges should move more smoothly. So we're kind of pulling, you know, back the client feedback, you know, where it makes sense. That may not always be the case, but we're trying to make, you know, a client's involvement much more important and much more impactful to an overall project, as opposed to kind of every step of the way. So ultimately, this should allow things to move a little bit quicker, a little bit more smoothly. We might not run into as many delays, you know, which ultimately will make things more efficient, you know, and we can run things quicker, which I think we all like to do. So that is kind of a quick overview of design solutions. So again, this is something that we're kind of gradually rolling out. If you have any questions on any of this, I know we covered it, you know, pretty quickly. It's kind of a completely new way of thinking about how we produce work at Topcoder. So if you have any questions, if something doesn't make sense, you know, definitely reach out to Jesse, you know, which can get you into contact with Adam and I, or reach directly out to Adam and myself. You know, we're looking for your input for kind of your ideas as we kind of shape these solutions as well. All right. So our third big item. Isa, are you still there? Nope. I think he had to drop. He was at a client meeting. All right. So Adobe XD, we'll keep running. So you may have heard of Adobe XD. It's kind of a new piece of software from Adobe that's kind of specifically tailored and designed for UI and UX design. It's kind of in line with Sketch, if you use that at all. But we are now officially supporting Adobe XD as another software option for design challenges. So this kind of brings our main list of UI design challenges up to Photoshop, Sketch, and Adobe XD are kind of our main software of choice for UI design. And then for wireframe and more UX, we're looking at, you know, Photoshop, Illustrator, Sketch, XD, and Axure. So again, we're kind of leaving it completely open on the wireframe front for, you know, kind of what software you prefer, kind of how you like to produce, you know, wireframes. We're not limiting it to just Axure anymore. The big benefit with Adobe XD is that it's Mac and Windows compatible. So this has kind of been a big issue with Sketch, is that it's a Mac-only software. So we're hoping that with Adobe XD and being Windows compatible, we know a lot of our members, you know, use Windows, that this will kind of open up another avenue for them to use a little bit more of a modern UI design software. You can import Photoshop files into Adobe XD. So if you have any kind of legacy Photoshop files, you can import them, and it should more or less convert them completely over to XD. I think the big benefit of Adobe XD is that there's just greater efficiencies in how it works as a software, and it's been completely designed and written from the ground up with UI design in mind. So this is kind of Adobe's answer to Sketch and kind of UI design in general. And then the best part about Adobe XD is that it's now free. So Adobe just announced last week that Adobe XD is now completely free. So you don't have to have a Creative Cloud license. You don't have to have, kind of any other Adobe, membership to use XD. So you can go to the URL here, so adobe.com/product/xd.html, and download a full version of XD for free. So we will be putting a lot more effort into kind of education and really pushing, the use of XD throughout our design challenges. So a challenge may not say that XD is available or acceptable to use right away. We are updating that in the system. It should be live fairly soon, but we are definitely accepting Adobe XD as a source file for all challenges, design challenges moving forward. So super excited about this, and definitely give it a try. All right, and our last kind of sneak peek is around the design community. So Jesse and team are always doing a ton of work behind the scenes. It's kind of amazing how much stuff goes on through that team. But kind of just a few things to highlight. So we are hiring a lead design evangelist on the community team. So this person will be a part of the community team, and ultimately they're going to help drive design-related initiatives in the community. So they're going to help us be more efficient in how we approach design, how we manage design education, basically anything that's design related within the community. This kind of design evangelist is going to be at the forefront of kind of leading those initiatives. So super excited about this. I think it'll kind of elevate Topcoder Design, that next level. So TCO, so registration for TCO 18 Indonesia regional design event will be launching soon. So that's definitely, if you're in the Indonesia region, if you've been to the past year's regional events, definitely come out. There is still an opportunity to win a trip to that event. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And then lastly, we are going to try something totally new. We have this idea for a 3-round fun challenge. So it should be pretty interesting. It should be super fun. So that'll be launching next week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, win a trip to TCO Indonesia. So there's still plenty of time to collect TCO points before May 31st. So we're giving away 2 trips to our TCO Indonesia event, which is on August 11th and 12th. So we're giving away 1 trip to the designer with the most TCO 18 points overall during the entire month of May. And then our second trip is going to the newbie designer with the most 2018 TCO points this month. So definitely a great opportunity if you're a new designer. continue to participate in challenges to collect TCO points, and ultimately, the potential to win a trip to TCO Indonesia. So definitely some great opportunities. There's additional information on kind of what this means, what TCO Indonesia is, on the Topcoder TCO site. All right, design challenges. So every design month, we run this series of fun challenges. So we currently have 4 challenges running right now. We have a Budsies challenge, which is pretty interesting. It's all around bringing, your unique artwork to life. So definitely check that one out. It's a pretty unique challenge for us at Topcoder. The second one is around a Topcoder logo motion graphic design challenge. So again, kind of something totally new, something totally different than we've done historically. So a great opportunity to kind of jump in and learn something new or try something new. We have a typography poster design challenge. So this is kind of a additional component of last week's workshop Wednesday, which was all about typography. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. Isa goes over a ton of great information on typography, super valuable just as background or reminder information, super valuable if you're kind of a new designer and want to kind of learn the basics of typography. So tons of great information from last week. And then the typography poster design challenge is where you can kind of start to apply all of that typography knowledge. So definitely check that one out. And then our last fun challenge is around Topcoder t-shirt designs. So we've historically run a ton of t-shirt design challenges. So definitely check this one out if you like to work on those sorts of designs. We have, again, I mentioned earlier, we have kind of this new 3-round fun challenge that should be launching next week as well. And then, as always, we have customer challenges. So definitely check out the challenge listing for design challenges. It's updating daily. But right now we have 2 challenges that are still open for registration. Both of these are Topcoder specific challenges. So one is around designing the organization profile. So this is a concept design challenge. We're looking for new ideas, new ways to think about kind of what the profile looks like within the Topcoder platform. So checkpoints are due tomorrow. Still plenty of time to jump in and get started. And then we're looking at 2019 Topcoder Open. So already planning for 2019 and looking at the community to help us design that new site. And then we do have a Rux coming. I know we've been dangling it on Slack for a little bit. It is happening. There's just been some delays, but there is a Rux coming. Super excited about it. I think it'll be really fun. And then, as always, we have our Topcoder community Slack. If you're not a part of this, make sure you email Adam at adrock@topcoder.com. We'll get you added in. This is where we kind of communicate with all the designers, share updates on challenges. You can ask us, questions directly. So it's a great way to kind of not only meet other designers within the community, but also, talk to the Topcoder design team. So that is it for this week's Workshop Wednesday. So next week, next Wednesday, we'll be back for our final workshop Wednesday of Design Month. We'll be revealing the winners of all of these fun challenges. So definitely tune in, find out if you're a winner, find out what your placement is. It should be a ton of fun. So definitely tune in next week. And with that, we will see you later.